Welcome back to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khimka.
And I'm Yatin Mota.
Well, another day of record highs. In fact, the Nifty has shut shop at a fresh record of 19,833 or thereabouts. But the record high, mind you, was somewhere around that 19,850 mark. So, the frenzy continues on the Lal Street. Every day we've seen the markets, hitting new highs. And in fact, this time around, it has managed to shut shop above that 19,800 mark for the first time ever. In fact, if you look at the broader end of the markets, even those were pretty active. Both the Nifty mid and small cap indices gained somewhere around 0.7 to 0.8%. Almost all the sectors by the end of the day were in the green except the IT pack that has come under a fair bit of profit taking after the kind of gains that we have seen over the last few sessions. So Nifty PSU banking pack doing well, metals doing well, autos of course doing well after news flow that Tata Motors will be setting up a new factory in the UK, an EV battery factory with an investment of £4 billion or thereabouts. So that stock was also a high flyer in today's session. Among the other Nifty gainers, you had the likes of NTPC, Indices Bank on the back of good earnings, Bajaj Finance, SBI, in fact ITC also managed to stage a comeback, and Tata Motors as I was mentioning. On the flip side, Hindalco, Bajaj Auto, TCS, Maruti, Hero and Aisha, and also Infosys was in the red ahead of its first quarter earnings that will be coming out tomorrow. HUL is the other counter that was in the red ahead of its first quarter performance that will be declared tomorrow itself. Aside of that, NTPC has gained on the back of a Goldman Sachs upgrade, but we'll talk about NTPC in details, but let's also talk about the broader end of the markets as to which were the key movers in that space, Yatin.
So, if you look at the broader markets, obviously there was some momentum in the IT stocks and there were a lot of result reactions in trade today. But let's talk about the gainers in detail today because, there was stock specific action here. As far as SW Solar is concerned, there is an analyst meet. They would be meeting a lot of investors today. And ahead of that, the stock moved by almost 6.5%. SJVN, and we'll talk about it in detail. We have a Goldman Sachs report post which the stock was up 6%. Bank of Maharashtra, and what a fantastic quarter the company has delivered. And if you look at Bank of Maharashtra, apart from delivering strong profitability, the asset quality also saw some improvement. And post the results, the stock of Maharashtra Bank was up 6% in trade. Bikaji, after acquisition announcement, that stock moved by nearly 5%. Also, if you look at stocks like Polycab, yesterday the results came in much above the street expectations, and the management targets revenues in excess of 20,000 crores by FY26. And post this robust guidance, the stock gained another 4% in trade today. What's not doing well is the likes of Network 18. Stock was down 7.5% after quarterly numbers disappointed. RBL Bank, ICICI Pru Life, all of these stocks witnessed some bit of profit taking at high levels. Overall, it was a satisfactory session. And if you look at stocks like Finolex Cables, KEI, Kajaria Ceramics, all of them were hitting fresh 52-week highs. So stock specific action continues to remain as far as the mid cap end of the market is concerned.
Well, lots of high flies in the mid-cap end of the markets as well. But with that, let's take a look at some of the stocks that are on our radar this afternoon, starting with Polycab. Of course, this stock has been on a tear, Yatin, given the fact that even yesterday, after it reported earnings, it was up somewhere around 7% or thereabouts. And today, once again, it has gained somewhere around 5% or so. The stock has, in fact, hit a fresh high after a great set of numbers in the first quarter. The profit, of course, surged somewhere around 80% on a YY basis. Its mainstay business, that's the cable and wiring business, has done extremely well. That is something that has driven the first quarter performance for the company. Management says that the volume growth for the cables and wires business was somewhere around mid-teens or thereabouts, and this segment was expected to drive earnings given the fact that there is higher infra spending by the government and there is healthy demand in the realty space. In fact, a lot of experts that I have spoken to believe that this stock is a very good play on the back of the solid demand that the realty space is witnessing. Aside of that, if you look at some of the management commentary coming in, the management has guided for a 20,000 crore rupee revenue growth by FY26. Cables wire business EBITDA margin is also seen in the range of 11 to 13%. In fact, there's one pocket of weakness for the company was the fast-moving electric goods segment that saw some weakness, but losses were curtailed in that segment as well. in fact on a sequential basis. The management in fact has said that this segment could turn profitable this year itself, and the EBITDA margin could be scaled up to 10 to 12% by FY26. If you look at some of the brokerage views on this stock, ICICI Securities in fact has upped the FY24 FY25 earnings estimate by somewhere around 9%, and Jefferies also has retained its buy rating on the stock with the target price of 4835 or thereabouts, which is somewhere around 12%, 10 to 12% higher from current levels. And Jefferies of course has raised its FY24 to FY26 EPS estimates by 6 to 7%, forecasting higher traction in the cables and wire business. And if you look at the stock, I think over the last 6 months or so, it has gained somewhere around 67% already. And over the last 1 year, I think the gains have been in excess of 90%.
Correct.
So this stock, as I was mentioning, whoever I speak to says that it's a very good play on the realty demand, theme.
Absolutely, and that is stock of Polycab moving after strong quarterly earnings and good guidance. But the entire power sector was in focus today. We have Goldman Sachs which has come out with an initiating coverage report on several power stocks. Among the first ones is NTPC. It was one of the top Nifty gainers in trade today. Goldman has initiated a buy on this one with a target of 265. SJVN, again a buy coming in from Goldman Sachs, target 55, and they have initiated a sell on Tata Power with a target of 190. Now the thesis, because we will talk about NTPC and SJVN in detail, NTPC according to Goldman Sachs is a leader and probably will emerge as a leader in renewable energy space. Obviously currently a large part of the portfolio is thermal, but moving ahead the company plans to diversify into solar and wind projects. Now if you look at the rising peak shortages, energy transition, this is likely to re-rate the entire thesis for NTPC. Obviously, there were news reports earlier that NTPC will form a green power subsidiary which will be available for the public or probably for institutional investors in terms of investment. So hiving off the green power unit could also unlock value moving ahead according to news reports. And on SJVN, there is exponential renewable energy growth which could come in for the company. In fact, in its presentation, SJVN mentioned that they are moving the capacity from 2000 megawatts to almost 5500 megawatts in the next 2-3 financial years, and moving ahead they plan to triple their overall capacity to generate power. Obviously SJVN is largely into solar and hydropower and is a pure play on renewable energy segment. So both NTPC as well as SJVN are on a sweet spot according to Goldman Sachs, given the fact that they are expanding their renewable energy portfolio quite rapidly.
Right, Yatin, and both the stocks are, attractively valued, given the fact that, the price to earnings of both stocks are lower than the entire sector PE.
Correct.
And the stocks have also run up fairly, well over the last 1 year, in fact, even on a YTD basis. Well, with that, let me also talk about the next stock on my list. That's, of course, Yatin's favorite, I think, Bikaji Foods. I'm talking about the snacking perspective. So, Bikaji Foods, of course, has clocked in, or in fact, is munching on strong gains, up somewhere around 5% or thereabouts on the back of an acquisition that it has made. It has acquired 49% in snack maker Bhujia Lalji for 5 crore rupees or thereabouts. Now, FY23 sales of Bhujia Lalji is somewhere around 18 crore rupees. It grew from 2 crore to 18 crores on a YY basis. Bhujia Lal now has, it is actually present in leading modern trade as well as e-commerce channels. I think what Bikaji could do is it could capitalize on these segments where Bhujia Lalji is present. Now, if you look at the stock Bikaji, Axis Capital has recently initiated coverage on Bikaji, and it believes that the stock has, it's a very strong play on the fast growing savory snacks market. Remember, Bikaji I think is the third largest savory snack maker in the country, and it has a very strong lineage, a diversified portfolio, and in fact the strong brand recall that Bikaji has also lends it a very strong pricing power. Now, recently Bikaji has also incorporated a subsidiary, a new wholly owned subsidiary in New Jersey, USA, and it has made several acquisitions. In fact, this year itself, it has made an acquisition, Hanuman Agro, I think back in January. Aside of that, it is also a beneficiary under the PLI scheme. It has already received the first tranche of 20 crores in March, and it is yet to receive 200 crore rupees in the next 6 years. If you look at the stock, I think it has done fairly well since listing back in November. It has given returns of 40% or thereabouts, and the street believes that the recent acquisition, which by the way it has given a thumbs up to, only lends more spice to the growth story that BKG has. So that's one stock that was on my radar this afternoon.
Well, these were the stocks to focus on. Obviously, the market momentum continues, and Nandita will be watching out for Reliance tomorrow because it goes
the demerger,
ex Geo Financial Services. So that is something we will watch out for. Obviously, the price discovery session starts from 9 to 10, and 10 o'clock the price gets discovered after the call open session, which lasts till 9:45. So we'll watch out for that one.
Of course, that means Jio will be making a temporary entry into the Nifty 50 index as well. And of course, earnings from HUL as well as Infosys will be getting you live coverage on Moneycontrol. So of course, don't forget to tune into that. And of course, I'll be back with the markets at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. Till then, it's a goodbye from me and Yatin. Thanks a lot for watching. But for all your other news and updates, stay tuned to Moneycontrol.